This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. Good afternoon. And I'm back in the studio. Glad to be back in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. And we got another episode of Keep 'em or Dump 'em. We got Steph in the building. We got Andy in the building. We got Big Bubba in the building. And we're about to go ahead and get this thing on and popping, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about the center quartet. Right? Who's that? Nerlens Noel, Mitchell Robinson, Jericho Sims, Taj Gibson. And we're going to go ahead and break this one down. Before I do that, though, I do want to remind you that we have the NBK draft party tickets on sale, ladies and gentlemen. There's a link in the description of the video. There's also a link pinned to the top of your YouTube chat. And I'll go ahead and put it in the chat throughout the show so that you can go ahead and reserve your tickets, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be super, super dope. You know, we got a couple of days of activities going on, including the live podcast that includes an appetizer buffet. Then we got a day after live podcast that includes a lunch. We're trying to organize a basketball game and even a video shoot. And you got music by DJ Shuttle. So, you know, it's going to be dope. So make sure that you get your tickets. Let's go ahead and get this thing on and popping. Andy, what's popping with you today, man?
Yo, what up, Sim? Long time no see. I'm disappointed that I'm not going to be able to, attend the AC, draft party. Maybe, in the future. Still, it's not going to be this season. 2 weeks of a draft class, so, maybe if we had, better luck for a top seed, maybe I could make it. But
yeah.
I'm happy you're back at the studio, Sim.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. I'm back for a week, and then next week I'll be out again. So. But luckily enough, I do have some mobile equipment so I can do what I can do out there on the road, as long as I'm not tired. This last conference, I was working heavy, so it was tough to get up and get going, once I got back to my room. Steph, what's going on?
I'm good, Sam, Andy, Isaiah. Listen, no matter the draft class, Andy, we strong. You got to be there. We strong, okay? It might be a weak draft class, but we in there strong.
Right.
I'm good. I'm looking forward to this topic. I love keeping it dumping. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
I love it too, man. And Big Bubba, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, son? What's going on, Steph? What's going on? And Andy, we're gonna get you that GoFundMe, man. We're gonna get you to America.
We're gonna get you here.
Even though you've been to America, we're gonna get a GoFundMe to get Andy to America.
Yo, I'm waiting the second year, Isaiah. You're just talking, bro. You gotta do something.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? A lot of talk going around with that guy. I still didn't get my Cash App from that.
No, don't.
I still didn't get the Cash App.
Don't you do that, because I got text message. Don't do that. Anyways,
I still didn't get it. That's all I'm saying. I still didn't get
Monopoly money, Sim. You're gonna get that Monopoly money in the mail.
we got Isaiah bucks. We got Ursha bucks. We got Isaiah bucks. No, man, it's gonna. I'm super excited, Sim. I can't wait for the draft party. It's gonna be real fun. So I know Steph's gonna be there. Tony gonna be there. Tony gonna be, and I can't wait, because you know what's gonna happen, Steph? It's gonna be Sim versus Isaiah. And I'm gonna kick his butt.
Okay, here we go. Can we get you to keep him a dump on? Let me get to Tony Crow. You taking too long. Tony, what's going on, man?
What's good, Sam? Shout out to the chat. Peace panel. Yo, Black, it's time.
Yeah, let's get it. Who should we start with? Should we start with Mitch or save Mitch to the end?
Save
Mitch to the end. All right, we'll save Mitch to the end.
Let Tony warm up a little.
We'll save Mitch to the end. Let me see. We got Mitch, we got Taj, we got Jericho Sims, and we got Nerlens Noel. Let's start with Nerlens. How about that? We'll start with Nerlens Noel. We'll go with Nerlens, then we'll go Taj, then we'll go Jericho, and then we'll get to Mitchell Robinson. So let's start with Nerlens Noel. All right, I'll read off a couple of stats. First of all, you already know he only played 25 games in 2021, 2022. In those 25 games, he averaged 3.4 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks. He shot 53.3% from the field. He didn't shoot any three-pointers, okay? 70% from the free throw line, and he did it in 22.3 minutes per game. In 22-23, he gets $9.2 million. And then in 23-24, there's a team option for might as well say $9.7 million. Okay? Bad season for Nerlens Noel, right? He couldn't stay on the floor. He played for a game, maybe 2 games, and then he's out for a couple of weeks. Then play for a game or 2, and then out for a couple of weeks. I don't even know what all the injuries were. He just always seemed to be out. $9 million a season up until next season, or there's an option. No, not until up until next season. There's an option for 23-24. I mean, it's not a crazy contract that's going to break you, and it ends next season, which does make him perfect trade bait. But without all the trade stuff and all of that, we'll get to all of that. What's your first thought? Keep him or dump him? I'm going to start with you, Andy.
Listen, Sim, when we're talking about Nerlens, I think that the minutes that he gave us that I remember are from the playoffs and from the last season, before the last season even. So, the 25 games, it was probably like maybe 15 games that he was playing around 20 minutes. And in 10 of those games, he literally got injured and he played 5 minutes next games, because I don't remember any of these 25 games that he did anything that, allowed him to help even, the Knicks, right? And listen, I was high on Nerlens. I loved how he played last season. He plugged. We just literally plugged him at the center position for Mitch, which was the starting center and he panned out quite well. I would say even that he probably, maybe thanks to the experience, he's a little bit more, defensive, even aware than Mitch, which is an edge over Mitch. Listen, if he's going to be playing 25 games a season, I don't think you can judge. I don't think you can justify the contract that he's have, right? If that would be a vet's minimum, you can't do nothing wrong with the vet's minimum. But he's getting literally like 10 million almost, so that's way too much for a player that's not going to be available.
Yeah, and that's way too much for a player giving you 3.4 points per game and 5.6 rebounds per game. You know what I mean? I know he's a good defender and he can block shots, but you can find that for much cheaper elsewhere, without a doubt. As a matter of fact, how much did you say JaVale McGee makes? $5 million?
JaVale McGee makes this season a perfect $5 million.
$5 million. You see, $5 million. Steph, what about you?
Yeah, dump him, But to Andy's point, when he's healthy, he makes a difference. And his numbers don't really tell the story in terms of the impact he can have defensively, but he's always injured.
Right.
I mean, even last season when Mitch was out, he missed games as well. So I think at this point you can dump him. I would feel comfortable going with Sims as a backup.
Yeah. Okay. Tony.
Yeah, I'm dumping too. And I was the guy defending his contract, justifying his contract. But the best ability is availability, and he hasn't been available. And like you said, Sim, it's not even like it's an injury that we know what the injury is. You know what I mean? Like, we expected him to be gone for the year, and we knew that. No, it was like something lingering all year. I called him the big Frank Ntilikina this year because, every time he come back, he get hurt and miss 3 months. And dump him.
Dump him. It looks like we're making quick work of Nerlens Noel. We're making quick work of this guy. Isaiah?
Yeah. Against him, I mean, just dump him. I'll be honest with you. Even last year when we had a good season, I was really comfortable letting him go. I just thought the money he was going to command, personally, I thought it was going to be a little too much, and he played good. He played more than good. He played great. It's probably one of his best seasons of his career. But I was really comfortable. I was honestly shocked when we signed him again because I thought he was going to go get some money somewhere else, but apparently probably the market wasn't as high as that for him. Again, he's just he played 25 games. I mean, Tony's not right. He was the big Ntilikina. The Ntilikina award goes to Nerlens Noel this year. It's just we don't need him. Again, it sucks because it's like I don't mean to treat him like disposable, but I mean you could always pick up a big center in the second round. Clearly, we've seen that work with Jericho Sims. You can always just pick up a running big man in the second round or go through free agency. You could get him cheaper, like Tony. I think Andy said you got $5 million with JaVale McGee on a championship level team. You know what I'm saying? So this one should be easy. Just dump him.
Yeah. Now you start throwing it because off the top, I'm the same way. Dump him. If you can move him in a trade or whatever it is. Get him going. I do agree, though, when he's healthy and he's out there playing, he has an impact on the basketball game defensively. You know what I'm saying? He definitely has an impact. But let me ask this, and I seen someone just put it in the chat. If the Knicks, for whatever reason, do not extend or re-sign Mitch, do you feel the same way? Are you still in agreement that we should dump him?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, you say Isaiah says yes, Andy says no. Tell me why. I'll start with Isaiah, just really quick. We don't need a whole soliloquy, just really quick, and then I'll get to Andy.
Look, first of all, no. You can always pick up a center in the second round. That's it's plain and simple.
You can. That's true. But are you picking up a center in the second round that is going to understand NBA defenses, understand, how to play against this guy or that guy, et cetera, et cetera?
You know what, Sim, and I will say this just real quick because I know it's not like a running back in the NFL, right? Like you could pick up a running back in the third round and the running back has the easiest transition to the NFL.
Hey.
It's kind of the same way with the center, but also it's tough because
I disagree. See, a running back, right? I mean, he knows where the holes are. He can hit the hole. Might be all right. He understands. He understands how to make the reads out there. He might be all right. What I just think is different. You're coming back. You're playing that center position. You're playing that center position. You are, you got to read those screen and rolls. Your rotations are a little bit. I think that's different between the two.
Well, no, but you know what it is though. Why I correlate the two is because you can always pick them up. But I know what you're saying to a certain extent because again, right? Jericho Sims was a 4-year center. I mean, a 4-year senior, and he still struggled on the floor. You know what I mean? So it is. I would say it's probably a little bit tougher with that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely tougher. But Andy, go ahead.
Yes, first off, I think Nerlens showed that he can play in Tibbs' defense. He knows the schemes. He knows how to play with Randall on his side. He knows how to cover for Randall's defensive mistakes and the guards' mistakes that to cover up. He knows how to play the defensive anchor of this defense and of this team.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I don't think if you even bring up a center in free agency, not only the draft, but also in free agency, that's not going to be a clear-cut better player than Nerlens Noel, that he will get great minutes on Tibbs' teams. We know that Tibbs loves, having that chemistry already built, right. Running back with most of the players from previous seasons, previous years. And I think he really values the chemistry above, even sometimes skill. So I think, just, I'm saying this with my fingers crossed that he will be healthy.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the only knock on Nerlens as far as I see it. Because listen, to be true, if both of him and Mitch were healthy, I think he could really run for Mitch's minutes. I'm not gonna lie, they wouldn't be like 38 minutes for Mitch and like 10 minutes for Nerlens. I think they would literally split it in a half if both were healthy.
If both, okay, all right. Steph, then I'll get to Tony.
I mean, I would still dump him because of the injury history. If it wasn't for the injury, I would keep him. And I think, I wouldn't go into the draft to try to replace him. I would, but I think you can replace him in free agency. To Andy's point, I get it, Tibbs schemes and what have you, but I think they'll be able to learn them. So I would still dump him, get somebody in free agency for a vet minimum to play behind. I mean, now we're not talking about if we don't sign Mitch, we got to sign somebody else. I don't see him as a starter though.
Right. See, that's where I'm at with it. If you don't re-sign Mitch, I mean, are you starting? I mean, I know he started last season. He started, the season before, when Mitch was out, he started for a while. Can he? I'll tell you what, he can hit a jump shot better than Mitch.
He can. Because the question you're basically asking as a starter, Noel or the field or a free agent, like what free agent you're going to get at a league minimum that can start at center? Drummond?
Yeah, and Steph underlined that vet minimum because we have like money to throw at a free agent center. So
exactly,
that's a tough one. Then probably keep him in that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough guy.
Yeah, I do dump him, but in his defense, though, I do think he is he can be a quality starting center. The problem is its availability. You know what I mean? Like, is he going to be there to be a starting center? So, but I would dump him, and again, we have all these picks. We need to use them, pursue somebody, make somebody an offer, go after. We talked about Miles Turner. We talked about the restricted free agency. That would have to be a sign and trade with Ayton if that's what it is. Maybe it's a double sign and trade with Mitch if that's, how we do it, whatever the case. But I think we got to be aggressive in finding somebody who's he don't have to be as good as Mitch. Hopefully he is, but just a solid defender and then brings an offensive arsenal. You know what I mean? Able to stretch the floor a little bit, able to post up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like if we're moving on from both these guys, we still need to bring a different dynamic.
Yeah,
also,
I agree.
I was gonna say, not to even be funny, even though I know around the Knicks is like a Knicks meme, but he really does have bad hands. Like he really has bad hands. Like that's not even funny. Like I get so frustrated because it's like, bro, like just catch the ball, like catch it.
Yeah, he definitely does, and I don't know if it was like that all throughout his college career.
Does he have small hands?
I don't know. I haven't inspected his hands. So I really don't know.
You gotta ask Guillermo. Guillermo, about NBA player, hips and stuff. So maybe he knows something about his hands.
Yeah, I have no idea. But I'll say this though. We're talking about the possibility of us having to add a center in free agency. No to Rudy Gobert. Given the news that came out, I'm not there. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just don't think he's worth that contract.
Right.
For the New York Knicks. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother conversation that I think is going to be, I think it's going to be difficult for the Utah Jazz to move him if they decide to move Rudy Gobert. But that's a whole nother thing. Looking in the chat, 85% say dump him and 15% say keep him. And there's about 81 votes. It's now 87-13. I'd be interested to hear those who say keep him, hands down, keep Nerlens Noel. I'd like to hear why. All right, I'd like to hear why. Give me a call, 516-405-2246, so we can hear your point of view on Nerlens Noel. And we can always go backwards and talk about Nerlens Noel, but it seems to be the consensus is to dump Nerlens Noel quickly. Do you think, and Tony, I'll start with you, do you think he's going to be worth anything on the trade market.
I don't know if he's gonna be movable, say draft night or anything, unless there's no expectation from the team that's acquiring him. So you know if it's maybe we're including a pick or whatever the case, to where we're moving him that way, and he's kind of like just the contract filler. But if we show that he's healthy and shows some impact, I think he could always increase his trade value if he's on the floor.
Right.
But off jump, I think it's more of a contract filler, somebody that they don't intend on picking up that team option the following year, something of that nature.
Right. Either a contract filler or he's used to help clear cap space for somebody else. And I'm not talking about 22, 23 cap space, but 23, 24, 24, 25, 25, 26, right? So maybe somebody has a similar contract that's $9.6 million a year, but their contract doesn't end until 25, 26, and he's used to help that team clear that space. You know what I mean? So that they can free up some money. And it doesn't even need to be that player is coming to the Knicks. It could be a three-way trade where that player is going to another team, and some other players coming to the New York Knicks, and however it could work out. So in that aspect, I do see where he can be a valuable part of a trade because, it's $9 million. His contract expires. It can help somebody to free some money, I believe. I don't know who. Right? I'd have to really look at everybody's contracts and really break it down, but it probably can help to facilitate a trade. I see someone say just waive him. I think if you just waive him, then you're kind of wasting the fact that he's going to be a free agent in 23, 24, and it's an expiring contract. I think you kind of waste it if you just waive him. You know what I mean?
Because the salary cap still counts versus his contract still counts versus the salary cap. So that's not going to happen. So
exactly, the money still counts no matter what. Even if you waive him, all you do is clear up the roster spot, but you still count that money against your cap. So you might as well try to include him in a trade
and for the full term.
Exactly. Right, exactly. It's not like you're breaking that money up over time or anything like that. Steph, do you see any way that, how he can be valuable in a trade situation?
Near the deadline. Yeah. Near the trade deadline, I think he would be valuable. I don't know if somebody wants to tie up, from the beginning of the season, that we're going to get cap space for this guy for the entire season. I think you have a better chance near the trade deadline. Now, if he could show that he's healthy, maybe, because I think he can help a team if he's healthy.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. If they already have a starting center who is healthy, then maybe they're not relying on him in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like if he's not healthy right now, they're like, all right, take your time coming back. And we'll give you as much time as you kind of need coming back. Hopefully, I don't think anybody's anticipating him missing all but 25 games next year. Coming off a full off season and whatever. So it would be not putting all their chips on riding on him if they do it. You know what I mean? They backup position. Hopefully he's healthy type situation.
Yeah,
but I agree. His value increases the longer we hold him. So trade deadline should be the better option.
Right. Now, given the situation with Jalen Brunson, the Dallas Mavericks, they're not interested in doing any signing trades. So you could probably rule him out with that. But if you look at Donovan Mitchell in that situation, he could be a part of a trade that helps to facilitate that happening. If Donovan Mitchell were to come available and the Knicks were interested in trying to make a move for Donovan Mitchell, $9 million is a third of Donovan Mitchell's contract, which could help a team like the Jazz or somebody else clear cap space for the next few years. You know what I mean? And that's why I think his contract could be valuable in a trade situation. What was you going to say, Andy?
Yeah, just to Steph's point, I agree with her that, the closer to the deadline, if a contender loses a center for the rest of the season with a major injury and they have to plug in that, center position, I think Nerlens is a perfect guy because his contract is short. You get the playoff, you get the defense from him. You're not expecting offense, but he can really, mesh in really quickly on the defensive end for a team trying to contend, no matter east or west or whatever. That's why his value rate goes up closer to the deadline. But he, like Steph said, he has to be healthy, and if he's healthy, I don't think the Knicks are going to try to move him then, because Tibbs is going to be happy with him. So that's going to be a hard situation. But I think it's going to be like Steph said, closer to the deadline, higher possibility for a trade if he's healthy, and probably to a contending team. So our late first round pick and a salary fill would probably work for the Knicks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Looking in the chat, 89% say dump them, 11% say keep them. Yeah, I think it's pretty unanimous that people want to move on from Nerlens Noel. So we'll move on from Nerlens Noel and get to Taj Gibson.
Hey,
All right.
Sam, I got a hypothetical trade.
Yeah, go ahead.
Noel, Fournier, quickly.
Nope.
2 firsts. 2 firsts. For Mitchell.
I mean,
I think the Jazz would do it. I think the Jazz would do it if you threw 3 or 4 firsts.
Wow.
I mean, I would definitely do it.
I was gonna say 2 firsts and 2 seconds, but he already said nope, so I just stopped. But
I would definitely do it easy.
You do it.
I would do it easy.
And do you think that is cutting themselves short?
So
who was the other one? Oakley, Noel. Who was the other one? Not Oakley.
Yeah, let's trade him Oakley.
No,
IQ, Noel,
and Fournier.
Okay.
No IQ. He didn't say IQ, right? You said IQ?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I would.
2 firsts, yeah. Then 2 firsts I'm cool with.
Because I feel like you get a starter, right? A young guy, and then a backup center. So I think you know what I mean, and then obviously the 2 picks. I don't know if that's like a Knicks fan, like that they'll never take that. You know what I mean?
That's what I wonder. I would do it as a Knicks fan, but I don't know. Would the Utah Jazz
right?
do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They might. They're going to be out there. They're going to try to create a bidding war, I think. For Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
So that price is going to continue to go up and go up and go up, I think. But
And Miami will be in the mix too.
Exactly. But getting to Taj Gibson, Taj Gibson has been like, father time for the Knicks, right? He's always there. You can rely on Taj Gibson, no matter what's going on. He'll sit on the bench. He'll start. He'll come off the bench. Whatever you need, Taj Gibson is going to be there. He averaged 4.4 points per game this season, 4.4 rebounds, 0.6 assists. He shot 51.8% from the field. He shot 39.5% from the three-point line. And he was 80.8% from the free throw line. All right? I mean, you can, when you look at 39.5% from the three-point line for Taj Gibson this year, and it's not like he didn't shoot him. He shot him when he was out there. You know what I mean? I think he probably shot the highest number of three-point attempts in his career this season. You know what I mean? Too bad he's not 5 years younger or something like
10.
that. Oh, 10, yeah, 10 years younger, right? His current contract for 2022, 2023, he's owed $5.1 million, and then he'll be an unrestricted free agent. For me, I'd like to keep Taj Gibson around. You know what I mean? And not that I'm going to expect him to play 18 minutes a game as, he gets older and older. But, just keep him around so that he can be kind of like the Udonis Haslem for the Knicks. You know what I mean? Just that wisdom that's in the locker room and on the bench. Isaiah, talk to me, man. Taj Gibson.
Yeah, keep him. Just like you said, Udonis Haslem, the leader on the team. To me, it's not that much to really say about him. I mean, as far as keeping him, just keep him. He's a great role model for the team, for these younger Knicks, for especially just showing them how to play the game. And, it's rare now, Sim, to have a veteran like that on a team because they don't do that no more. For coming into the 2010s, it feels like teams just go straight up young without veteran presence to help guide the new team. But for him to be here to guide the team, to guide the new generation of Knicks, it's done better. And I think honestly, this is probably going to be his last year. If not his last year, it's like second to last year playing in the NBA. Or he might do the Udonis Haslem thing, keep playing a year, do a year in contract. But Taj, man, nothing but respect. Fort Green's finest. So he's doing his thing. So keep him.
I don't know if it's going to be his last year. I think he might, if he doesn't have to play much, why should it be his last year?
Listen, the good thing is, here's a good thing, right?
He's
if he's
home.
Not playing,
Hey,
Sim, if he's not playing much, that means the Knicks are doing something right. What I'm saying?
Yeah. Andy, what's your take?
Yeah, of course we keep him. For one, I think the contract isn't that bad because $5 million, listen, in the current NBA salary isn't that bad of a situation. And to add two great things that Isaiah, couldn't mention is, for one, he's a vet that won't require playing time. Because you can have vets that will still try to fight to get those minutes on the court. Those, 32, 33-year-olds, they're going to still want to play for possibly, a 2-year contract in the future or something like that. Taj is like, listen, I'm cool with the plane ticket. I can dress up with you guys, warm up. If I ain't going to, I don't even have to take a shower after. So he's cool with it. And he's one of those guys that for one, he knows Tibbs literally his whole career. So he's that bond between the head coach, the coaching staff, and the players, no matter young, old, whatever. You got to have, and that's a perfect situation, like you guys said with Udonis Haslem, but also he's that bond, that glue guy, as far as not the basketball standpoint, just the mentor standpoint.
Right.
And I think that's really important if you have so many young players that the Knicks currently have. And listen, Sim, not to mention, like I already mentioned like weeks ago, that Taj developed that three-point shot that Tibbs was wanting his centers to develop to stretch the floor. Mm-hmm. He was the best at it from all of these guys that we're going to talk about this in this show.
Yeah. Somebody asked, what's the love affair with Taj? I want to win. I think that's part of winning, having a guy like Taj out there on, not on the floor, but on the bench in the locker room is part of winning. You heard Andy say he's that buffer between Tom Thibodeau and the players. When Tom Thibodeau's, I don't want to say antics, but, when he's getting on a player, one of these young guys, and these guys are like, yo, coach is bugging me out, Taj can say, hey, listen, this is what this is what Thibodeau is. Here's how you respond to it. Here's what you do. You know what I mean? For him to be one of your 15th guys out there on the bench, I don't think takes away from you adding guys that can win.
And Sim, it's kind of like what I was saying before, right? It's about guidance, and it's like back in the, I remember the late '90s for me and early 2000s, that you always had that veteran presence on the team to help you bridge the gap and everything. Even when I was playing sports, when you play sports, right? When you're a sophomore, if you're good enough, you get on the veteran team and coach is yelling at you, hopefully one of the seniors, if they're not messing with you, got to give you like a little big brother role, and they tell you like, yo, this is what the coach wants, this. You always need that buffer. And it's, to me, right, when teams win championships, man, Sim, and you just hear these guys talk about who were the guys that helped them get to the championship, they always talk about, those guys that, like I remember Steph Curry used to talk about, David Lee and all those guys that helped guide them through all those stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you got all these other championship teams. Again, you got Miami Heat. I guarantee you, Sam, if you ask any of the Miami Heat, they'll tell you that Udonis Haslem was one of the main people that helped them get to it. Even the Heat this couple years when they went to the bubble championship, they'll tell you that Udonis Haslem was the guy that pushing all the right buttons to help them get to that championship, even though he didn't play a lick on the floor. You know what I'm saying? So you need to have some of these guys on the team. You need to.
Right.
Yeah, and Sim, just to add in one sentence also, listen, Taj can be that spy kind of a player in your locker room. He can tell Tibbs, listen, I think you're going too hard because this guy won't respond to that type of coaching. He's so intelligent that he can do that.
Yeah.
And he can be like, listen, Jericho ain't going to respond to that. You got to give him a minute here or there, or just tell him after the game, whatever. He's so old. He's seen so many players on so many teams, so many franchises that he literally can do it.
And this is third time being with Tibbs, so he understands when Tibbs maybe is going too hard. Steph, any thoughts on this topic with Taj Gibson?
Yeah, I would definitely keep him. I hear people in the chat saying he can play that Udonis Haslem role as an assistant coach. Not really. There really is a divide. When you become a coach, even if it's an assistant coach, it's not the same.
Nope.
It's not the same being in the locker room. And even players would be like, nah, he assistant coach now.
Right.
You just can't get with him the same way you got with him as a player and talk about certain things. And listen, the 15th player on the roster is not playing anyway.
Right.
The 14th play on the roster usually is not playing. So I don't think he would be taking up anybody's spot. But if something happens, like remember when we were decimated, we was down to 8 players. He can actually give you productive minutes. And a lot of people in that 14th and 15th spot can't.
Exactly. And he's got, experience. Even if you're in the playoffs and, all of a sudden you're down and you need a guy, he's got playoff experience.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's been there. I'm looking on Hoops Hype, and it says his money for 22-23 is not guaranteed. Right, so of course
really?
That adds a little bit of a wrinkle. I don't know exactly when they've got to guarantee the money, but it adds a little bit of a wrinkle. It also allows the Knicks a little bit more wiggle room when it comes to cap. Right, because if his money's not guaranteed. Now, when you go into free agency or you're looking to make any moves, instead of the Knicks only having, $2 million to spend, now you can say, well, it's $7 million, and then you still got exceptions out there that you can use. And if you can find another way to clear some money off your books, now you can sign a Jalen Brunson, easy. And I know there's some people out there already that's like, would y'all stop talking about Jalen Brunson? But he's obviously a target of the Knicks. So, no, I'm not going to stop talking about him. But the Knicks could clear, if they do not pick up the option or extend a qualifying offer to Jericho Sims. That gives them about $3 million. And then if they do not guarantee Taj Gibson's money, that gives them about $8 million. Right? And then if they can find a way to clear off another $12 million, and maybe that includes like a trade of Derrick Rose to the Bulls or somebody else where they accept him and we don't have to take any salary back, you know what I mean? Or one of these other teams that have cap space, that's you got your money right there to be able to sign Jalen Brunson or whatever other guard you want to sign or player you want to sign outright. So I think there's ways that the Knicks can find a way to get that money. But again, that's another conversation. It only came up because Taj Gibson's money isn't guaranteed for 22-23. So that essentially, adds a little bit more flexibility to their cap. Which is obviously a good thing. All right, a really good thing. Yeah. Now, let's talk about trades, Tony. I'm gonna come around to you. You know, I'm assuming that you probably, you know, are cool with keeping Taj Gibson on board. I think, will Tom Thibodeau trade Taj Gibson? Let's put it like that. Would he say, I'm cool with trading Taj? And if Taj does get traded to another team, I actually think, you know, Isaiah was talking about him retiring. If he gets traded, I think he retires. I think he only wants to be in New York, knowing, you know, his father and his father's health and stuff like that. I think he wants to be home. If he gets traded, I think he's done. What's your thoughts, Tony?
Yeah, I agree too. I don't think, not so much that Tibbs wouldn't trade him, because I think he would, but I think Taj would retire after the season, if that was the case. But I'm all for keep him for sure. I want him to be the modern Herb Williams for us. You know, I want him around for years. You know, when I was young, I used to always like, why is Herb still on the team? You know what I mean? But it wasn't. So I know the young fans now are probably thinking the same exact thing that I was when I was their age. But as I got older, I understood it and what it meant. And obviously, Taj is a little bit more productive than Herb was, you know, in his latter days. But talk about just staying ready and everything like that.
Bro, don't mean to cut you off. Don't mean to cut you off. Herb Williams is so old. His picture on Basketball Reference is in black and white. No lies.
Tim, I bet you that James Dolan didn't know if he saw Herb Williams in a suit. He didn't know if he's paying him as an assistant coach or as a player, bro. I bet you that.
Right.
He was like,
yeah. Herb Williams was 40 years old when he retired from the Knicks, man. 40 years old. But, you know, and I'm cool with Taj being around like that. I'm cool.
And he'll still give you 13 minutes in a pinch. You know what I mean?
Will. He probably will.
Hey, Sim, I just looked up Herb Williams because it's crazy, Sim. I remember when Herb Williams became the interim head coach. I remember that season. I'm looking at his Wikipedia. You know, this man's still basically with the Knicks. He was assistant coach with the New York Liberty. That boy ain't never leaving New York.
Yeah, I know. He was still, you know, he was still with the organization for a little while.
Shout out to Herb Williams.
They said he got an apartment in the basement of the Garden.
And listen, I could see Taj Gibson being like that as well, or somehow being an ambassador, kind of like LJ still around, right? You know, being an ambassador for the New York Knicks. I could see it. I can see it happening.
And Sim, I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't see a world where Thibodeau allows Taj to get traded. I can't see it.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I don't think he's gonna allow Taj to get traded. Taj to get traded. You know what I mean? If anything, it would be like, don't guarantee his money, and then he'll probably sign for the veterans minimum. You know what I mean? And I think it is probably set up, and they probably had the understanding. Listen, we're gonna put you on here for $5 million. It's not gonna be guaranteed for 22, 23. If we don't make any moves or whatever it is, and we got the money, we'll honor that $5 million. But if we have a chance to make a move to get this player, that player, do whatever, we won't guarantee it, but then we'll sign you back for the veterans minimum, or maybe one of the exceptions that they have, you know, to make sure, you know, just to treat them right. You
know, Alfred Payton, it was the plan all along.
Don't bring up Elf, man. People gonna get mad. They gonna start throwing tomatoes at you, Tony.
Don't do it.
They gonna throw tomatoes at you, Tony. You bring up Elf, they gonna throw tomatoes. You know, although all of the players that we did not bring back
here we
are
go.
in the playoffs,
Here we
and the
go.
Knicks ain't. I'm just saying, it's true. Is it true or not?
Oh my God!
Is it true or not? Is it true or not?
Yeah.
All the players that we did not bring back this season are in the playoffs, and the New York Knicks are not. Even Frank, all of them. Man, you know, I'm not even going to go any farther with that. I'll just leave it right there. You can take with it what you want.
Them always want to start this thing with Alfred Payton, man. I swear he always do. And no matter what
I
show
didn't
it
bring
could
up
be.
Alfred Payton's name. I didn't bring up his name. I didn't bring up his name. Matter of fact, I told Tony, don't bring it up. I said, don't bring it up because what's going to happen. I'm just saying what the truth is. The facts are the facts.
Sam, you the dude in the argument that you want the other person to bring it up and be like, well, I ain't saying, but you said it.
The facts are the facts. Did I lie to you? Did I lie to you?
Kevin Knox is in the playoffs too.
He was in the playoffs.
And scored more points than Trae Young.
I'm just saying. He scored more points than our entire team in the playoffs.
Oh, man.
Kevin Knox did. I'm just saying. The facts are the facts. But it looks like it's unanimous, though. I guess unanimous. It's not unanimous, but majority of the people would like to keep Taj Gibson around, right? 76% say keep him. 24% say dump him. And I know those 24% are saying dump him just because he's an older guy, but I still think his experience and wisdom, is needed. Go ahead, Tony.
No, I was gonna ask. We already established that Cam Reddish's contract offsets Joker Noah coming off, right?
Yeah.
And but we still have like about $3 million, right?
I mean, right now the salary cap is, I don't want to say it's set, but it's expected to be about 122 million. And the Knicks have $120.6 million committed, right? So they have about $1.4 million in cap space. As long as that salary cap comes in at 122 million, you can assume they have about $1.4 million in cap space. If they do not extend a qualifying offer to Jericho Sims, who we're going to talk about next, that takes it up to $3 million in cap space. And then, of course, if they decide that they're not going to guarantee Taj Gibson's money for next season, that takes it up to $8 million in cap space. And then you got to figure out how to play around with the money a little bit so that you can free up some more space to sign one of these guys without a signing trade, to sign them outright. Which I think can be done because there are teams out there. We went over it not too long ago. There are teams out there who are going to have cap space and would be able to absorb salaries. You know what I mean? Just real quickly, looking at it real quick. Indiana, $88.4 million. Cleveland. Oh, no, not Cleveland. I'm sorry. Let me see. Who else we got? Chicago, $100 million. I mean, Toronto's at $114 million. I don't think they really have enough to absorb cap space. They
didn't sign Zach LaVine yet, though. So.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't. No, they didn't sign Zach LaVine yet, right? So Chicago's at $100 million in guaranteed money for next season, but they haven't signed Zach LaVine. But let's just say if he decided to go elsewhere, they might have some money to do it if they wanted to. Detroit's at $76.7 million. Sacramento, $102 million. San Antonio, $82 million. Orlando, $82 million. Portland, $93 million. Memphis is at $97.8 million. Oklahoma City, $101 million. So there may be some teams out there that would be willing to absorb a player's contract so that they can, maybe, I'll absorb this contract. You give us a first-round pick, something like that. You know what I mean? So there could be ways that the Knicks could free up some cap space to make the moves that they want to make this offseason.
And Sam, can I blame you for Sam? This is why when you say overpaying things happen. You woke up Mark. Mark is in the chat now since you said overpaying.
Mark been in the chat.
Nah, he wasn't in the chat.
Been in the chat. I seen him say keep Taj. He been in the chat.
Nah.
Anyway, one of those guys that if you do not extend a qualifying offer is Jericho Sims, rookie for the Knicks this season. 2.2 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 0.5 blocks per game. He was 72.2% from the field. He did not shoot a three. He shot 41.1% from the free throw line, and he did it in 13.5 minutes. All right, and let me get this. There you go. Take that off the screen. His current contract situation is a team option. A qualifying offer that the Knicks would extend to him for $1.5 million and I got my numbers all mixed up there. I'll fix that. But what do you do? If you're the Knicks, we're talking keep him or dump him with Jericho Sims now. If you're the Knicks, do you extend the qualifying offer to Jericho Sims or not? Or do you say, if there's moves that you want to make, you can't extend that qualifying offer if there's moves that you want to make? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Steph, what do you
think
do?
The 1.5 or 1.6 is going to make that? Well, the Knicks are dealing with a tight salary cap situation, especially if they want to go out. And even if it's not Brunson, if they want to go out and get anyone. So just on face value, if you're not thinking about the salary cap, definitely keep him, right? I think he's proven he could be a bona fide backup center in this league. But if you're trying to get a point guard, you're going to let Sims and that 1.5 million get in the way if you need it to sign it? I don't think so.
You can't.
I don't think so. They have to give him the team option before free agency, I would think, right?
It's a
qualifying offers.
Extended qualifying offer. So I'm actually about to take that team option thing off. They've got to extend the qualifying offer. I don't know when the date is. I'm assuming before free agency. And if they don't,
before free agency.
If they don't, then I think he's unrestricted.
But you know what? He could be unrestricted. Like, say, for example, you don't extend the qualifying offer. He's unrestricted, and you just talk to his camp. There's some things that we want to do first. Tony's shaking his head because if somebody come with the bag, they're not gonna wait. They're not gonna wait around. But I can't let Sims get in the way of signing a point guard if it comes down to us needing that.
See, I agree with that. I can't let Sims get in the way of signing a point guard either. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Tony.
The thing is, you're projecting now. Unless you have something on the table before free agency where you need the money, how do you make that decision? And then at that price, I think he's worth keeping. I think there's other options to move. I think there's other moves to be made, like you said, whether it's including, maybe not a first, but a second round pick. We have a plethora of picks that we could use for somebody to dump some salary. And we have some glut that we got to clean up anyway. So whether it's who we want to go or not, some people are going to have to be moved. You know what I mean? For opportunity, or just so that, somebody's not just sitting on the bench.
Yeah, Tom's gonna just
that Cam trade changed a lot of things, and Tibbs knew it as soon as it happened, or maybe before it happened. So I think something has to give anyway. And then I was shaking my head no, because his camp is Rich Paul, and they're not gonna do any, like he's not gonna be able. They can't turn down whatever the money is, 1.5, and then expect to sign him for 1.5. You know what I mean, or less. It's gonna go up. So that's the thing. If we don't sign him, I think we lose him.
You think so?
I think so. Or long term, 4 years, 5. You know what I mean? Something. It's not going to be a 1 year 1.5. That's all I'm saying. It's going to either go up in years or go up in the amount.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If they feel like they can get, even if the Knicks extend that qualifying offer and they feel like they can get more on the market, they can decline it anyway and say, we think we can get more on the market. So we're not even going to mess around with this.
That's fair.
I was gonna add on to what you're saying, Tony, because listen, we gotta be realistic, right? The Knicks, currently, yes, right now we have $3 million to play with, but we all know, and everybody,
no, we don't have $3 million to play with right now. We got 1.4.
Okay, 1 point. So we got 1.4, but we all know realistically, Kemba's gone. Kemba's getting traded.
It don't matter, right?
But his salary counts versus the cap, so unless you find a deal, he ain't gone.
Unless somebody's taking on his contract and not giving something back, then the money is,
and listen, if teams, if general managers of other teams know that you want to get rid of him, they're just gonna tell you, listen, just waive him. Eat the
But-
salary, and then we're gonna sign him for 1.5.
Right.
I mean, that's true. I mean, again, I think we're thinking there's always a deal out there for something. There's always a deal out there.
But the deal has to clear money for this summer. You understand what I'm saying? If the Knicks are going, the deal can't be, that it clears money for next summer. It's not going to help the Knicks this summer. It's got to clear money now.
Yeah. I mean, it could be possibly a deal, but I mean, so for me, I just can't let Jericho Sims go. Me personally, I just like what the kid brings. I like that he sets screens, actually. I like that he actually can rebound. I like, just to me, he isn't where Mitch Foley is at, but he's a great backup center. Now, I mean, again,
Great is a little strong.
Right.
he's good. He's good.
Can't call it great yet,
good
bro.
looking, great looking, something like that.
Yeah. And 41% from the free throw line.
Yeah.
That's bad. But I've seen some repertoire. I've seen him have a little hook shot. I've seen him trying. You know what I'm saying? He wants to get the ball in the post. He's not scared. I'm just with keeping him because I like what he brings. I mean, personally. Now, I would hope that Jericho Sims wouldn't be the reason why we don't end up not getting a point guard. But I mean, again, push come to shove. I mean, if it's keeping him or getting Jalen Brunson, I mean, of course, you got to do what you got to do. You got to go get Jalen Brunson.
But see, I think not extending him doesn't mean that you don't keep him.
Right.
But Sim, you also got to. But like Tony said though, when you're dealing with Rich Paul, man, that dude is a different type of beast, man. That dude does not like. I feel like me personally, Rich Paul does not like hearing no, or he doesn't like you trying to play his player, trying to like wait for his player to get money. That's what from what I've seen with Rich Paul so far in his career as being a sports agent.
Hey, I think
he's tough.
Sim kind of cleared it up when he said they, even with the qualifying offer, they could not accept it, and then it's the same situation. It's the same situation as if we didn't give a qualifying offer.
Right.
So
the only thing is, if they didn't accept the qualifying offer, then he'd be a restricted free agent, and the Knicks could match anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know when the deadline is to make this offer to him, but I feel like the Knicks are going to have to either make or not make that offer before they sign any other. Well, I mean, they will. I guess they probably have the chance to talk to a free agent. So let's say they spoke to Brunson and Brunson is on board. Now they can say, we're not going to extend that qualifying offer because this is how we're going to open up space, right? Now, let's say they speak to him and he's like, nah, I'm going to stay in Dallas or I'm going to do this, that, the other thing. You know what I'm saying? Now they say, all right, well, we're going to extend the qualifying offer to Jericho Sims.
Sim, am I bugging and thinking that it might be in the best interest for both parties for us to extend the offer and him decline it? Because now he could kind of set his own market. And if he doesn't necessarily mind coming back, he knows we have the option to match it and bring him back. And even that being said, I think we could go ahead and do our signings before we match it. Right?
But
No,
I think there's still going to be a hold in your cap. Right? So because you extended that qualifying offer, I think there's going to be some kind of hold on your cap. And now that's going to...
even with a decline?
Yeah, because he's restricted.
Oh, so the hold is...
So
what's the hold amount?
I don't know. I don't know what the hold amount would be, but there might be some kind of a hold on your cap. I don't know. I don't know.
I think you're right.
All right. So
I
then
think
if there's,
you are right.
I mean, it makes sense to do that. I just don't know if there would be a hold or not. You know, so that's something we'd have to research and find out. You know what I mean? That's a good thought. I mean, I think most people probably want to keep him around. And I'm going to end this Taj Gibson poll and get the Jericho Sims poll up in the chat. I think most people want to keep him around, but if it comes down to me signing a point guard in the draft, a point guard in free agency, and having to hold on to Jericho Sims, I'm gonna let Jericho Sims go, and I'll go ahead and sign that point guard, and then hope that I'm still able to sign him to some kind of a contract afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sim, if I can add on this topic, listen, I'm looking at the NBA.com free agent tracker. At the center position, there is 41 centers, restricted or unrestricted, this offseason.
Wow. 41.
And I'm not saying that there are, all, max salary extensions, whatever. There's tons of guys that you can sign as vet minimums, like probably from these 41, like 10 or 15 you can get from vets minimum. I'm not gonna lie, most of those guys probably are better than Jericho Sims, and I like Jericho Sims, and I love to keep him. But in that situation, like you guys said, we clear the cap fully, we make the signings, and then we sign Jericho Sims as a probably start with the two-way player thing, then look deeper into the season, probably make a wave, cut someone, and then re-sign him for the rest of the season. That will probably be the best option as far as the Knicks' point of view. That would probably mean less money for Jericho Sims. But then again, when you look at this, a list of centers, there are, I can tell you a couple of centers now that you can get for vets minimum that are going to be way better than Jericho Sims.
Yeah. Looking in the chat with the poll that I just put up in the chat, currently 97% says keep Jericho Sims, and 3% says to dump him. Yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes with Jericho Sims and his contract situation and what the Knicks decide to do. I tend to think that they're not going to offer or give the qualifying offer. He'll be a free agent, unrestricted. But I think, like Steph said, they'll try to have that conversation with him. Say, hey, we want you back. We're not going to give the qualifying offer. We do want you back. Let us make the moves we're going to make, and then we're going to try to give you a fair offer.
And then I think you can also say, if you get an offer from another team, I don't know, do they do that? If you get enough offer for another team, at least give us an opportunity.
To like first right of refusal or something. I don't think it's in the contract that they have first right of refusal, but at least give us the first right of refusal. You know what I mean? If you get an offer from another team, and I think that would be fair. You know what I'm saying? He goes out there, and if that team says, hey, we can give you this, they come back and say they can give you this. He'd like to stay here, but if you can't match this, then he's going to move on to that team, And, I know it's Rich Paul and all of that, but he still has to try to, be in good graces with somebody out there. I know him and Leon Rose may not be the best of friends, but, he still has to do what's in the best interest of his client and what his client wants to do. So we'll see how that works. But I think most people do want to keep Jericho Sims around and see how he develops. I know later on tonight, Steph, you're going to be talking about Jericho Sims with the rookies and how they played this season and so on, right?
Yeah, definitely. And what I did was I pulled up their draft profile, their strengths and weaknesses coming out of college, and we can take a look at, basically what translated, what didn't so far. It's just their first year. And then, given the rookies we already have on the roster, what's the Knicks philosophy going into this draft?
Yeah. Okay, that's good. So make sure you guys check that out later on tonight, ladies and gentlemen, at 8 p.m. on the Queen's Court. We're going to talk about some of these rookies that's out here. Now let's get to the guy that we've been waiting for. And I think he's probably, I don't know if the Knicks are going to move on. I don't know. We'll talk about it. But Mitchell Robinson, right? Let me get that over here. Mitchell Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. He averaged 8.5 points per game, 8.6 rebounds per game, 1.8 blocks. He shot 70% 46.1% from the field, didn't shoot a three. His free throw percentage is 48.6, and he averaged 25.7 minutes per game. Right now, the Knicks can extend him by June 30th, 2022. And if they do not extend him, then he's an unrestricted free agent. All right. Tony, I'm going to give you the first right of refusal on this one.
Oh, y'all already know, man. Pay that man, Mitchell Robinson. The only thing I can't defend about him is the free throw shooting. I don't even really have the confidence to say as far as how far he can go in that aspect. I would hope at least 60%. You know what I mean? But even that is a major jump. So, but other than that, man, pay him. I think he has defensive player of the year potential. I think he wants to be here. Everybody talks about homegrown. I think we got one. You know what I mean? And yeah, pay that man. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet.
Okay. Isaiah? Oh, I guess maybe Isaiah can't. Oh, Isaiah ain't even there. Andy, I'll come around to you.
Yes, Tim. I would say this is a hard thing for me, but I'm actually torn on this Mitch deal. If we're able to give him about 10 million, I think I resign him. But I bet you that he's going to get more on the market. So, his agents are going to tell them to, not accept that kind of a contract. Then again, his max is what, only 55 for 4 years, I think. Yeah, something like that. I think that's a bit too big of a number for me to keep him on the on the roster. Mm-hmm. Then listen, if you dump him, it has to be a sign and trade, because if you don't pull a sign and trade, you're gonna lose him for nothing. You won't have, and you're gonna lose a starting piece on this team. If you have a healthy Nerlens Noel and he beats Mitch out in the training camp, you're gonna lose a rotation guy, right? Because Jericho Sims ain't gonna be above one another. So you have to sign and trade him. If he doesn't want to, work with that, you gotta sign him and you gotta keep him. But I'm not, I think you can find a center from that list that I told you guys that is gonna be like around 40 free agent centers. That you could probably, play in the rotation even as a starter.
Starting caliber?
Yeah, even as a starter, Tony. But it's going to be hard to pull, a good deal for the Knicks with the current salary situation if they are putting the point guard position as the number one thing in the off season.
Can I ask you guys this though? Is there any incentive-based reason why another team is going to do a sign and trade for Mitch as opposed to just signing him, unless they don't have the money
because
either?
Tony, because the other team can be in the same situation that the Knicks are. They're basically almost capped out, but they have a free agent that they have the birds right to. So we can trade kind of those players around. And that's basically the only thing, because listen, if I'm the Detroit Pistons and I want Mitch Robinson, I ain't gonna give you one of my young guys. Why, right? But if I have a contract that I might like to dump the salary on someone, like and I'm not saying, I'm just putting out the name here. The deal is not gonna happen. Like a Jeremy Grant, that it's not in their timeline. They're fine with probably tanking another season. They're gonna want to get rid of Jeremy Grant from that team. But they're not going to trade Jeremy Grant to the Knicks for Mitch Robinson. But, that player might get moved in another deal just to free, the salary, and they just run with like 15 young guys, because they're just going to try to do that, in my point of view.
Man, it's going to be hard to determine what Mitch is going to be worth out there on the market, I think.
But Sim, I think we can all agree that if someone pays him like $500,000 more, he's going to take that deal, right?
$500,000 more, you think? Well,
bro. I was gonna say $1,000, but
I mean,
So you don't think he wants to be here?
no, I don't. As Tony, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he feels any allegiance with the Knicks currently. That's why I'm saying this, because he literally outplayed his salary. He really outplayed his salary because he was getting like 1.8 million.
right.
And I know that the Knicks ain't gonna be like, listen, Mitch, you are outplaying the salary. We're gonna give you 5 million on the table. That didn't happen. So I'm guessing like he's, I played so good. I'm just gonna go get my money now.
I just don't know if he's, it's so hard to determine what he's going to be worth on the market. I don't know. It's going to be a difficult one. And I think he wants to be in New York. I think he probably does, but I don't know if how good the relationship is.
Yeah. Didn't he have a T-shirt that said New York or bust or something like that?
New York or
New
nowhere.
York or nowhere.
Or nowhere, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know how good the relationship is between him and the players. Probably a great relationship between him and the front office, though, right?
Yeah, or him and Tibbs, right?
Or him and Tibbs
running for cardio and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, I don't.
Tibbs values that rim protection.
But here's the thing: I don't know. Like when he said that, I don't know if he was talking about Tibbs or talking about himself. You know what I'm saying? Like he could have been talking about, I'm not playing well. I'm just out here running up and down the floor. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's going to be. Do you think this is the first move that the Knicks make for the offseason? Mitch, is that the first chip to fall for the Knicks, Steph?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. They have to make that decision. June 30th?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Sim, if I'm correct and I read it right, like I told you before the show, I think the free agent moratorium that you can talk with free agents this season is August the 2nd.
Jeez.
So you don't have, it's not like a week difference.
Right.
You got a week and a whole month.
Steph
But I think
said that before.
I think that was for last year. I think it's back to regular this year. The NBA's calendar is not out past the draft.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But I think they're going back. I heard some people saying that they're going back to the regular.
Yeah, because it says June 23rd is the draft, and it just stops there.
It stops there. Yeah.
Right.
But I did Google it, and that came up, Andy. That's why I said that. August 2nd came up. Yeah.
And technically, I think the first domino to fall is the draft because, if we draft a center, that says a lot right there about moving forward. That either.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, Steph, if we jump into the top four and get like Chet or whatever, whoa, bitch.
If we say in the top four, okay, yeah, the top four.
I say even in the first round, if we draft the center, I think that means somebody's gone, whether
either
it's
Mitch or
Jericho or Noel. You know what I mean? Like one of the three has to be gone. So I think that says a lot. And then if you're looking at it contractually, especially as a first round pick, you're spending more on him than Jericho. Mitch and Noel are probably going to be the only ones that command more than that 11th pick. So, it's I think Jericho will be off the table immediately. And then I think Mitch or Noel would be on the move, and most likely that's Mitch because you can't move Noel yet. Or technically you can. You can move him in the draft.
Right, he can't be moved in the draft. So, depending on what happens,
that might be the first domino to fall. Whatever happens draft night, a move or drafting a center is going to mean a lot moving forward.
Yeah, it definitely will mean a lot moving forward. And it's May, so they have about a little bit less than 2 months to make a decision about whether or not they're going to extend Mitch or offer an extension. And then I guess we'll see from there. If they don't offer an extension, what do you take from that, Tony? If they do not offer an extension, do in your mind, are they like, does that mean they have no interest in Mitch, and the only way that really they get anything out of it is because they're going to sign him and trade him? Or could it be some kind of salary cap maneuver to ensure that they have enough money during free agency? I
think if they don't offer the extension, I think he's gone. I think he's gone. And my hope is he wants to go somewhere where they could negotiate a sign and trade.
Right.
Because even if he doesn't want to be there, I think the Knicks would offer the extension and make that public knowledge. You know what I mean? Just so they could kind of save face, like, hey, we gave him the most. You know what I mean? We offered the most we could, or we offered this. You know what I mean? Just so it don't look like they kind of didn't do their due diligence.
But now, okay, so if they offer the extension and they sign it, they offer the extension. I don't know the order that it has to go. Maybe they can't really. Maybe they can't offer the extension. I mean, obviously they can, but maybe they can't. Maybe they have to wait and not offer the extension, sign whatever free agents, and then sign him above and beyond the cap, right? Where if you offer the extension, then maybe that eats up your cap space and you have no ability to sign any other players. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not sure. I'd have to do some more research into the cap to find out how that might work as far as signing free agents. Because if you offer that extension too early, you just may not have any ability to make any other free agent moves in the offseason because it may tie up all your cap.
And Sim, it will be the situation with the restricted free agents, right? Where you give them the offer, but they can go into free agency, look if they have any other offers, and then come back to you, and that you have to match and stuff like that. So listen, we might get I think if we give him the qualifying, the extension, he has to sign it literally before June the 30th.
Right.
That's why, you know, when the free agency starts, teams know if he's a restricted free, if he signed the extension, or he's an unrestricted free agent. So that's why he has to sign it till the day, the 30th of June.
Right. And you know, they gave Noel 10. You can't even give you gave Noel 10. You can't give Mitch 12, you know?
Yeah, but Steph, listen, if they gave Noel 10, they might trade him, right? If they're gonna re-sign Mitch for 12, they won't be able to trade him before the season. So I think that might be the sign and trade thing we were talking about so much. I'm not sure how that, you know, is gonna work perfectly, because, you know, the time frame for this is really, really slim. Right. And for example, if we try to, you know, make a deal with Mitch, like, listen, you're gonna have $12.5 million for 4 years, and we're just gonna, you know, sign you to Dallas, whatever, right? He might be like, listen, I got 13.5 from the Pistons.
Right. Yeah, I think it's interesting to find out whether or not, you know, if he signs that extension before June 30th. I mean, I'm assuming if he signs it before June 30th, then the money is gonna count against the cap for 2022. So maybe that's why we haven't heard much about it, and they're just gonna wait until free agency. So that way they can make whatever moves they need to make and then be able to sign Mitchell Robinson, even if they have to go over the cap to do it.
I see. So they'll still have an opportunity even in free agency.
Yeah, because I think they can go over the cap to sign Mitchell Robinson, right? I think they have his bird rights.
If he's a restricted free agent, I think. Because that's the bird rights thing, that you can go over the cap to sign him. But if he's going to be unrestricted, then, you know, so if we're capped out, right now, so we can re-sign him and go over the cap. But when we go to free agency, that means that the period for, you know, re-signing him is over. So he's going to be unrestricted, and then you can't, like,
you got to clear money.
$15 million. Yeah, you got to clean the space for him.
So this is what I'm reading, right? it's been reported that according to the beliefs of NBA executives, Robinson could get paid around $12 million to $13 million annually, with the chance that it could be as high as $15 million annually. The Knicks have the center's bird rights, which means that New York could go over its salary cap to re-sign him.
Yeah, but that's all before we hit free agency. Because if we hit free agency, he's going to be unrestricted.
Right, but
then you lose the bird rights, literally, I think.
I don't know. I think you can still have the bird rights on an unrestricted free agent, because that was one of the things to help keep. That was one of the stipulations to help keep players
and the teams
on their teams, I believe.
Yeah, and if we traded him like at the trade deadline, I believe the bird rights would have went with him
To the other team.
Yeah.
So they could have went over the cap to sign him as well. So I think that's right.
Yeah. So
maybe you guys might be right. Yeah, with the bird rights, because then you literally couldn't make the sign and trades deal, right? Because if you would be over the cap, then you couldn't sign and trade him. If he signs an offer, and if he signs a contract with you, you can trade him for like 90 days or something like that. So that must be the situation, that you can go into unrestricted free agency, but you have his bird rights.
But you have his bird rights, right? So, which means it would make sense for them to wait until they sign some other players or whatever they're going to do in free agency, and then get the deal done with Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah. Question is if Mitch is going to wait.
If Mitch is going to wait, right.
Remember with Miami and Dwayne Wade, that's what they were trying to do. Sign all their players first, then go over the cap to sign him. And, he got upset over, I forgot that center's name, and signed with Chicago. Whiteside, yeah.
Right. Is it worth, the money don't come out of my pocket, I don't care, but is it worth going over the cap to sign Mitch? Steph, do you think, is it worth going over the cap to sign Mitch?
Sam, I'm torn on just the regular cap. I'm torn on just
at this point. No matter what, it's going over the cap. Like
I was gonna say if we extend RJ, and if we extend RJ next offseason, then if RJ new contract kicks in, we're
going over the cap
out,
anyway.
So
it's the same.
But you know what though, son? This, and I wanted to say this before customer rudely interrupted me.
Your job interrupted.
Nah, this is more important. I'm joking, job. Please don't.
They're probably listening somewhere too.
Okay.
I know. So, Sim, here's the thing, right? That I've been thinking about this, watching these playoff games. Because I'm more into signing Mitchell Robinson, but watching these playoff games, Sim, I don't know, because, man, centers in these playoffs are getting exposed. Like, especially like this look right. Steven Adams, this whole season has been great. He's been a fantastic player. One of the key pieces to Memphis Grizzlies. They can't even play him.
Same with Rudy Gobert.
Same thing with Rudy Gobert. Look, you got guys like Robert Williams. Even Robert Williams isn't really up to speed everything yet. But I'm thinking about the centers, and we have to think about this, and I think the manager has to think about this too. Like, if you're not a DeAndre Ayton type right now, you're not really doing good in this playoffs as a center.
How's Embiid doing?
Embiid's an MVP player.
Level,
though. Embiid's an NBA caliber player. But I'm saying though, Tony, those kind of centers, offensive, that can go get their shots. Those are the ones that are doing good. Embiid is just a generational type of center. You know what I'm saying? That we don't see. Joker is a generational. That dude is just a beast. Those are the guys that are doing good. The rim running, protect the paint centers. Those are the ones that are getting exposed in the playoffs.
Listen, the main guys, the number one option centers are gonna do good, right? Because the offense is based around them. But the fifth option on the team.
Andy, but that's where I'm getting torn at, because if we sign Mitch, that $15 million is cool during the regular season, but what's going to happen when we need to play him? Because again, right, we're in the Eastern Conference. We're going to be facing the Celtics. We're going to be facing the Sixers. Hopefully we're good enough to do this, but we're going to be facing the Nets. We're going to be facing all these teams where it's like, if Mitch can't generate, and God knows he's not. Listen, we got to make it clear, he ain't generating offense next year. He's not going to come with all that stuff he doing our arms. I'm worried that if we pay this guy, and if everything clicks right for the Knicks, and we go into these playoff series, he won't be able to be played because these type of centers that Mitchell Robinson are getting exposed.
I mean, when you're saying exposed how? Like,
I mean, they're getting.
What are opposing teams doing to expose them?
I mean, they're getting them switched on the smaller guards, which again is hard for any center to guard a smaller guard. But they're making these guys. It's really 4-on-5 when it comes to the offense because they can't score. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to be leaning off them. They're going to be going to the main perimeter guys, and they're going to be guarding those guys, and they're going to be daring the center to go make something.
And they're playing way more small ball. Listen, Dallas eliminated the Jazz literally with small ball. So go back.
But it's crazy though. But Andy, each year they get eliminated because of small ball.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying.
And Rudy Gobert is a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. So I'm just saying though, it's tough because I don't know. I just don't want to pay Mitch, and then like I said before, we plan on making the playoffs annually, I don't want to get killed because Mitchell Robinson can't generate no type of offense. Well, not saying that would be the main reason why we would lose the playoff series, but
I don't.
I mean, I would say you would need to. Go ahead, Sam.
No, go ahead, Steph. Go ahead.
You need to craft a team where you can go small. And I think that's my issue with Utah. It's not like this is the first time. It's happened, It's like the third time. You have to craft a team where, you have that option to go small.
Exactly.
And to Queen's credit, to Queen's credit, that's exactly what I was going to ask. Unless Tibbs is putting Randall at the 5, and, which a lot of people are asking for, and we think that'll help Obi get more minutes and things of that. Do we have a small ball option that Tibbs is going to trust enough to rock with? Because I think, like Queen is saying, it just has to be an option for you. It doesn't have to be the standard
scheme. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be an option for you, and that's up to the Knicks team to craft that type of a team. So that when you come up against a team that can play small ball, you can compete and don't have to worry about it. I understand what you're saying, though. You know what I mean? I do. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Do you think Mitch in the future? And listen, I think Mitch, offensively, I think he's going to be who he is. He may develop a little bit more down low, post area. I don't think he's ever going to be shooting the ball. Defensively, I think he may be able to develop enough footwork to be able to defend some guards out, or some smaller players, not guards, but some smaller players out there on the perimeter from time to time if, it was happening that way on the opposite side of the floor. I understand your concern, though. You know what I mean? The issue is, most centers, even if they can shoot, you're going to have teams going small and they're going to switch, and you're going to get caught in situations like that unless you have one of those generational guys. You know what I mean? Who just they impact the game so much in other ways, even when teams go small, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because that guy can post you up and score.
Well, Sim,
or that guy can shoot the 3, or that guy can pass the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Well, see, Sim, this is why I think, and this is where to me Tom Thibodeau hurts the Knicks without being such a creative offensive person. Because to me, this is, let's say you keep Julius Randle. This is when you play Julius Randle at the 5. Or this is when you get Obi at the 5. This is when you do those kind of things where Tom Thibodeau, you give up rim protection. You do.
Yeah, listen, the thing is, we're all happy with that right now until we get in the game and guys are at the rim dunking. Then we're like, We don't got nobody out there that can block us. What we doing? You know what I'm saying? Why we still going small when they dunking all over us? You know what I mean?
See,
It's
but it's hard
easy
though,
to
Tim.
say that now. It's easy to say that.
No, of course, Tim, but it's hard though because it's not like, look, right? It's not like you have the Celtics. We did have a guy like Al Horford who, golly, this dude puts on the Celtic jersey, he turns back the time because he goes back to be able to guard from side to side. He's able to hit the corner three. He's able to block shots. He's able to stretch the floor. And but you also pair him with Robert Williams, right? So with Robert Williams, you know what I'm saying? It's hard when you don't have those guys. That's why, when Steph says, well, it's hard to really play Randall and Obi, because I'm not saying you can do that like how the Celtics do it with Al Horford and Robert Williams, but if you have a little just more creativity and hopefully some good schemes, you can do that where you're not missing too much defense and rim protection from when you got. And I know we're talking about schemes and stuff now.
It's hard to come up with a scheme that's going to give you rim protection.
Yeah.
You're not going to come up with a defensive scheme that's going to give you rim protection. You just got to say, I'm willing to go without it.
Yeah, you can be creative, whatever you want. If you guys ain't going to be, blocking and putting in the effort, you're going to be playing good defense.
You know what I'm saying? So you just got to say, I'm going to go without it for a little while and live with it. You know what I mean? Because I don't think you're coming up with anything that's going to all of a sudden turn either one of those Obi or Randall into shot blockers. You know what I mean? You can hope that guys don't get to the rim, in the way that you devise your defensive scheme, but you're not going to create anybody to protect the rim from your scheme. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good point, about Mitch. And I'm pretty sure the Knicks are thinking that way as well. And that's part of the reason why I'm like, you can't have Mitch and Jericho Sims and Nerlens Noel. I don't want to have Mitch and Jericho Sims, to be honest with you. I want to have Mitch and a guy who can shoot from the three-point line from that center spot. Or if it's going to be Jericho Sims, then Jericho Sims and a guy that can shoot from the three-point line. Somewhere along the way, we got to find that guy. I don't want it to be just those two. You know what I mean? Because I think we'll be in trouble if it's just those two and we commit long-term to just those two, the same exact guys, and nobody that can shoot from that spot. You know what I mean? Looking in the chat, though, it looks like 75% of the people say keep Mitch, 25% say to dump him. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens as we go forward. Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
I was just going to say, I got a show tonight, too. So that 25%, if y'all don't call in here, you know what I mean? Y'all have the opportunity to tell me why y'all want Mitch. You want to dump Mitch tonight. So come on, Knicks and Bruises.
There you go.
I want to hear from you on that issue.
Yeah. Big shout out, too. I want to shout out a couple of super chats. Lenny Joseph, thank you for the super chat. He said, as a Brooklyn Nets fan, Lenny, and he's always on, but he said, as a Brooklyn Nets before Knicks fan, I'm just paying my dues for trolling. The whole time my Nets were a joke. You got that right. He said, I'm just showing love to Brooklyn way. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. And yeah, the Nets are in some trouble, man. I don't know what the Nets are going to do, but the Nets are definitely in some trouble right now. They're trying to figure that thing out, and I don't know if they're going to be able to. Look like it's crashing and burning over there. And then Uncle Fulio, he said, defensive versatility. Bubba's correct about Mitch and Tibbs. We need switchable bigs. Not only is it a problem in the half court offensively, but he could be a liability on. Not only is it a problem on the half court offensively, but he could be a liability on the defensive end as well. It can, depending on who he switches off on. You know what I mean? But, the Knicks, again, like Steph said, I think this is where the Knicks got to figure out how do you play against all different types of teams that you're going to face, right? Different types of lineups that you can put out there on the floor because the NBA is so versatile nowadays. You got to be able to switch it up, and you got to have the players to do it, though. Got to have the players to do it. One more reminder, ladies and gentlemen, we got those tickets on sale. The draft party tickets are on sale. All right? Take a look. Get all of the details. We got June 23rd. We're going to have a live podcast. All right? Along with that live podcast, you'll have an appetizer buffet with one draft beer to go along with it. And then the next day, We're going to do another live podcast to kind of not really wrap things up, but talk about what's going on and what's going to happen in the future. And there'll be a lunch included with that. All right. We're going to be doing a live video shoot. We're also going to be doing, hopefully, we're going to be playing a basketball game. So please make sure that you join us, ladies and gentlemen. $40 for everything for that weekend, or $30 if you only want to do draft night. All right. The link is in the description of the video. It's also pinned to the top of your YouTube chat. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in there once again. So as soon as we're out of here, ladies and gentlemen, you can go get your tickets. And once you buy your ticket, make sure that you call up the hotel so that you can reserve your room before they sell out, because they will sell out. But it's going to be a dope couple of days. We're going to have a lot of fun there. Any last words about this quartet of centers and how you want the New York Knicks to proceed with this quartet of centers? Andy, I'm going to start with you.
Yes, I want to ask a hypothetical situation.
All right.
Where somehow we have to not extend the offer to Sims, right? Would you guys, because I'm going to put out the name that would definitely sign with the Knicks for the vets minimum, even after literally every free agent, center or whatever, not even center, is going to be signed in the NBA, but he's going to be available probably. Former Knick Enes Freedom. Would you guys entertain him as an option, like as a third string option? Let's say it that way.
I would, as a third string option. I think I would.
He didn't like being the backup.
But Tony, the situation has dramatically changed for him. Right? He's saying in the media that he's being blackballed from the NBA. So I'm guessing that he's going to take the minimum just to be in the NBA.
I mean, I would. You know what I mean? I defensively.
If he still has it, right? If he still has it, right?
Yeah, defensively, what some of the issues are with him defensively. I think he can score in the post. He's a good rebounder. You know what I mean? So, as a third string guy, he can come in and give you that. If you need it. And I don't know if he's going to be the kind of guy right now, like you said, that's going to argue and complain about minutes. So I definitely would. Any other thoughts, Steph? Any other thoughts about this quartet of centers? So someone said Taj isn't a center. Taj kind of is a center. He plays, the center position. He plays the power forward position. He, plays whatever one of those two positions that you need.
He's probably our best small ball option.
Yeah, he probably is. Without a doubt. Yeah. But yeah, Steph.
You muted Steph.
Muted Steph.
If we can get Mitch for 10 and get a backup center like a Kelly Olynyk that could shoot, that would be good. Otherwise, I'm open at the center position to whatever the Knicks do. To be honest, I don't really have any strong feelings anyway. I would love to keep Sims if we can, but like we talked about, I'm not going to let that get in the way of freeing up cap space. Mm-hmm. I wish Mitch was a little further along. He's high ceiling, low floor. If he was a little further along, I wouldn't even have any problems, because you see when he plays well, he's dominant, but he hasn't shown that he can live at that level. And you rolling the dice on that, it's still coming. It's still coming. It's still coming. So I don't really have any strong feelings either way for this position, other than to improve and get somebody that can shoot the ball.
Yeah.
And rebound.
Yeah. Tony?
I just hope that we do bring in, whether it's second option, third option, or first option, some type of a different dynamic at that position. Somebody who could shoot the ball. Hopefully it's not a liability on defense. But if he is, and he's not the greatest defender, he's got to be a change of what we have. You know what I mean? So really spread the floor, shoot that three, maybe an elite passer and facilitator at that position would be nice as well. Kind of change the dynamic of some of the things we could do offensively.
Yeah. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. I'm going to rock on up out of here. Please make sure that you get those your draft party tickets. All right. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and then I'm going to get up out of here. And I see right now, as I close out the chat, I close out the poll. It's about 75% of the people say they keep Mitchell Robinson, and then you got 25% of the people to say dump him, get him out of here. You know what I mean? Oh no, but make sure you join Tony Crow later on. What time, Tony, are you going on?
I'm gonna do 7. I'm gonna do 7
o'clock. Make sure you join Tony in about 38 minutes. We talk more about Mitchell Robinson, and then on the Queens Court tonight at 8, break down the rookies and look at what they did compared to coming out of college, ladies and gentlemen. So we got a full slate of shows for you this evening. I'm out of here. Be peaceful, and I'll talk to y'all later. We out.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.